James is joining us here today to go through the new vehicle, and he's going to give a comparison between the outgoing F30 and the brand new G20 with us at the dealership today. Thanks, James. Welcome to the dealership.
Max, thank you very much. Well, look, a new 3 Series is always an exciting time. This is the 7th generation 3 Series. The model was launched back in 1975, kind of same as me, and it's always been the benchmark for what we understand as being an executive sports sedan. And well, this is the best 3 Series yet. We're going to go through the car on the outside, underneath, and through the inside. But of all the things that we've seen, there's an awesome amount of new technology on board on this car. What's your favourite feature so far?
It's hard to pick one. I think I started in this brand 7 years ago when we launched the F30. I was speaking to you earlier today. The F30 was an incredible car.
Yeah.
When we launched that car, things like heads-up display, active cruise control, all the safety features that we see in this car now weren't even in existence. So it's really amazing that you can come and buy this car stock standard with a range of amazing features.
Yeah, no, look, it is a fantastic car. So we'll start to do a bit of a walk around and to give you an idea of what to expect out of the all-new 3 Series. Now, for those of you watching, we've got a crowd here in the dealership today, and for those of you watching on the live stream, we've got an F30 320D side by side. So you can see a car that many people currently own, or at least are used to seeing and maybe have driven against the new G20. And we'll look at the exterior first, because as a start, there is no escaping the fact that this is a BMW. So from the front of the car, obviously you've got a wider kidney grille and new slimline LED headlamps. LED headlamps are now standard on this car, and you may see the grille itself is actually closed off at the moment. This is an active aerodynamic grille that what it does, it will allow air in to cool the car, but then close up to improve performance and aerodynamic efficiency as you're driving along. Now, it's fair to say, even with the roundel on the front, there is not actually one single component from the F30 that is shared with the G20. This is an all-new car, and it's something you hear all the time when there's a new model released, but this is literally a clean sheet of paper, redeveloped look at the 3 Series to make it the best 3 Series we've had. One thing you will notice looking at the 2 cars side by side is the new car is bigger in every dimension than the outgoing model. It's wider, it's longer, it's a little bit taller, but the biggest difference and the most important factor is there's an extra 40 millimeters between the wheels to give you more space on the inside of the car. Now what that means, and for a bit of context, this car actually has a longer wheelbase than the original E23 7 Series and the E39 5 Series. That gives you some concept as to how much the 3 Series shape and space has improved over the years. This colour is called Portimão Blue, and it's named after a racetrack in Portugal. The old blue, you might remember, Estoril Blue, is also named after a racetrack in Portugal, and it's a thing that BMW have always done with their M colour names. They are all named after racetracks. So there's an important piece of pub trivia you can use to impress your friends, that any M-specific colour is named after a racetrack. And I'll give you a tip, this one's called Melbourne Red, for us. Now there are 2 cars on offer at launch, a 330i petrol and this one, the 320D diesel. Still a 2-litre turbocharged diesel engine, but this is now a twin turbo diesel. The outputs are the same, but you've now got a small turbocharger for response and performance at low speeds and low in the rev range, with a larger second turbocharger to help with efficiency at cruising speeds. What that means is you're getting mid 4 litres per 100 on a combined consumption cycle out of the diesel. The petrol engine is up in power and up in torque. So the refinements, despite the badge being the same as what you're used to on an F30, the refinements from the engines are quite pronounced over both cars. Now also further underneath the car, this is an all-new 3 Series. One of the biggest things that has changed is the suspension. Something that we used to from the latest iteration of the F30 was adaptive suspension when you chose the M Sport package that allowed, when changing drive modes, it changed the damper settings from the comfort to sport to be a little bit firmer and a little bit more direct as you went up through the sport settings. The G20 also has an adaptive damper system, but it's an active adaptive damper. You find on the rear suspension, it has a twin stage dampening valve. So if you have a big pothole that you hit, you actually have a reserve amount of dampening that will come into play. So what it means is the car's ride now is vastly improved as to where you were already in a well-handling car like the F30, but it still retains that sporty feel, even more so with the M Sport package, which is now standard. So M Sport used to be an option on the F30. The car now comes with the M Sport package. Interesting fact, Australia was a large driver of this coming through. We are the largest per capita country of M to standard BMWs in the world. So our desire to have the sportier cars is something that's well pronounced from Australia. The fact that most people will buy a 3 Series with the M Sport pack on it, it now comes standard. So what that means, you get the aggressive front and rear styling bars, you get 19-inch wheels, you get the M Sport brakes, it comes with the Sport and Sport Plus drive modes to give you what is now the best executive sporting sedan on the market. Down the back of the car, something that you can probably see on the vision there, it's very handy, but you've got a boot kicker. So if you've got your hands full of all your luggage, you simply wave your foot under the back of the car. The boot is the same size as in the outgoing car at 480 litres. There's a split 3-way rear seat so you can put bulky items through and fold them down. Releases are here under the back of the boot as well to make it nice and convenient. Now we're going to hop in the car and you can watch the details on the screen. Well, if you think the exterior of the car is a change, this interior is a giant leap ahead of what we were used to in the F30. The interior has obviously retained the typical BMW driver-centric cockpit, but you can see the materials and layout are far more modern and far more luxurious than what we've expected. The iDrive screen now is standard at the 10.25-inch touch screen, and it's a high resolution display. But in front of me here is also another 12-inch high resolution digital dashboard display. Now what this does is it adapts to your drive mode settings. So if you're in Eco Pro or you're in Comfort or you're in Sport, different information is displayed. It will give you navigation instructions, your telephony and audio feedback on the dashboard, and also in the full color head-up display, which again is now standard in this car. And that's going to be a bit of a theme because there's so much equipment now in the 3 Series that comes rolled in as part of the package that the options, which we'll go through at the end, are largely for personal tastes. Now what you can see here is a new iteration of iDrive. This has come direct from the X5 and the new 8 Series into the 3 Series. This is iDrive 7. You've got obviously the familiar jog wheel and now touch screen, but this car introduces a voice-activated assistant, not dissimilar to what you're used to with a smartphone with Siri on an Apple. You can simply say, "Hey BMW." One of the other things that this car comes standard with in the 330 is the BMW Driver Assist package. You get adaptive cruise control, you get a lane keeping assistant, and you get obviously autonomous emergency braking rolling through the car. The console and switchgear is now far more advanced to what we were used to in the old 3 Series, making this feel much more like you're used to in not just a 5 Series, but an X5. Let's hop back out again. All right, you'll be able to hear me now. I'll run through some of the things that we mentioned inside the car for the live vision. So one of the key features of the new 3 Series beyond what you're used to from iDrive is the new iDrive 7 that we first saw on the X5, but is now flowed straight down to this car. The new X5 has only been out a couple of months, and usually it takes years for some of the technology to come from a 7 Series to a 5 to a 3, but it's been a direct jump straight into this car here. One of the features that is new on the 3 Series is a voice-activated assistant like you're used to with your smartphone. You can simply say, "Hey BMW," and you can actually change that to be whatever you like. You can give the car a name if you want. and guide it through any of the features on the iDrive system without taking your hands from the wheel. You can change everything from your navigation instructions, your radio setting. You can even, with all your streamed music and connected audio, look at giving the car some guidance as to what you want to listen to. If you've got a genre of music you feel like, the car will do a playlist for you. So it's moving ever further from just a car to being part of your digital life. Now, something obviously that is key to BMWs, not just in the F30 and the new G20, is the integration with BMW Connected Drive, which is the online service and assistant that you can have with this car. Now, what if you've not experienced Connected Drive? Something that the team here at Waverley BMW can help you set up with your current BMW or any new BMWs. You can communicate remotely with your car anywhere in the world. You can check on its position where it's parked. On a hot day, you can actually tell it to ventilate itself so that when you come back to the car, it's cool. You can remotely send navigation directions to it. And if you are using the diary on your phone, it will tell you when your next trip is due, what the traffic's like, and when you need to leave in order to get there on time. A new feature too with the 330i is a intelligent surround view camera, which means you can log into your car remotely wherever it is parked and have the car take a 360-degree photo of its current position. So if you're worried where you've parked at a sporting match or the shopping centre, you can check and see who's parked close to your car, just in case someone you don't want someone to scratch the door. Other impressive features now of the G20 is, and you will see this on a test drive if you can, it has what's called an intelligent reversing function, and it's something that you've never thought you needed until you actually try it. And what it remembers is the last 50 metres of your drive when you come into park. So if you nose your car into a tight car spot, when you come back to the car, you're worried about getting it out again, the car can remember the exact pathway it took to get into that spot and will simply reverse itself out by itself. Now, we've done some tests on this. Even if you do a slalom through some cones and stop the car, it remembers that pathway exactly and will navigate you out. So if you've got a tight spot or you live in a high-density apartment and moving around a car park can be a bit of a daunting experience, the new 3 Series has got that covered. Now, all this new technology, all these new features that come standard in the 320 and the 330, you might think will add a larger price to the car. It's a bigger car, it's a more advanced car, but it's actually a lighter car from its materials. It's in the 330 is about 25 kilograms lighter than the outgoing model, but both cars are around $2,000 less expensive than the outgoing list price on the F30, and that's bundled with all the equipment that they come with. There are option packages, obviously, as well. There is a visibility package, which BMW has got as bundled with metallic paint, which we're all probably going to choose, a sunroof, which most of us will choose, and the laser headlights, which this car doesn't have fitted with. These are adaptive LEDs, but the laser lights use a laser and a chemical reaction to shoot a very bright white light 500 metres down the road. So you get a much more brighter, intelligent light signature. If you've ever tried the adaptive LED headlights at night, you can let the car manage its headlights for you. It will run high beam when it can. It will block out that light signature to oncoming traffic so they don't get dazzled. It will pan the lights to the side of the road to indicate close trees or road signs as you approach them. The car has a camera sitting in the front of the windscreen there that will read the active speed limits and road signs. So if you're going through a construction or a school zone, the car will remind you that it is a 40k an hour zone. Even if you don't see the sign, the car will. This is tied obviously to the cruise control, which allows you to simply preset to accelerate to the current speed limit or decelerate to the current speed limit. The car knows what the limit is, even if it has changed temporarily. So it's a very, very intelligent system. The Driver Assistance Plus package, which is optional on the 320 but standard on the 330, comes with a lane change assistant, so the car will move you back into the center of your lane if you stray out for whatever reason. It has a steering assistant, so if you've got the cruise control activated on a freeway, the car you'll feel it tug the wheel ever so slightly to maintain the vehicle's position in the center of the lane. You also have a rear cross traffic alert, a side traffic alert, and of course a front traffic alert for autonomous emergency braking. It can even see cyclists and pedestrians coming from the side at low city speeds. Excuse me. There is an M Sport Plus package if this M Sport is not enough, which gives you a little lip spoiler on the back, an active rear differential, and of course there is the comfort package, which I think in Melbourne we all need. Heated seats, you get electric lumbar support, which is great if you're as old as a 3 Series model lineup like I am, and a range of personalisation options and colours so that you can design your 3 Series to really suit what you like. The M Sport colour palette, there are 7 colours to choose from. Portimao Blue is new and exclusive all to the new 3 Series. What I can suggest though, we've driven this car, it really is an amazing 3 Series to drive. It goes back to the mentality that BMW is the ultimate driving machine. It feels sporty, it feels comfortable, it feels luxurious. It's everything you really want from an executive sports sedan. So what I can suggest, the best way for you to experience a 3 Series is to drive one. So come down here to Waverley BMW, speak to Max and the fantastic sales team that are here, arrange a test drive, experience this car for yourself, and I think you'll agree that this is the best 3 Series ever.